Okay, gentlemen, B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. First of all, we are sponsored tonight anonymously, and I would like to mention the name Yael Bat Nava, who unfortunately was a baby that was 1 week old that passed away today. Unfortunately, Yael Bat Nava. May Hashem raise her neshama higher and higher in Gan Eden. We should know only smachot in our community. Also, we're learning Lilui Nishmat Menashe ben Chanoch, that his 12 months is almost coming up. May his neshama go higher and higher in Gan Eden. Hashem. Learning for the refuah shlema of Kol Cholei Israel, Shacha ben Chana, Shmuel Moshe ben Pnina, Yaakov Yisrael ben Chana Esther Helen, Mordechai ben Adina, David ben Rachali. Is refuah shlema or is your? Oh. Okay. Yael Chaya bat Shachnaz. בתוך שאר חולי ישראל, מהשם סדר. Sorry?
אהובה בת נחמה לאה.
אהובה בת נחמה לאה, מהשם סדר רפואה שלמה בתוך שאר חולי ישראל. And also, לעילוי נשמת?
David ben Rachamim.
David ben Rachamim, מהשם, help his neshama to take his neshama high and high in Gan Eden. Okay, so, I want to start off with a really cool set of gematrias and really cool things that I saw today, and also other very interesting things to discuss as well on the Parashat. As we know, it says, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav arza seir sedeh Edom. So finally, he's finished with the issue of Lavan. He's finished with dealing with Lavan. He took his wives, his children, and he's got everything, servants and sheep and all kinds of things. He's going, and now he's on his way back to Eretz Yisrael, and he knows that Esav is on his way to get him. Not a pleasant situation. Esav has 400 men, he's told, and he's got a difficult situation. Esav, for the longest time, has wanted to kill him, and it seems now is that moment of opportunity. So, what does Yaakov Avinu do? So, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav. So Yaakov sends malachim in front of him. Now, malachim usually, when you're talking about a simple statement, it means emissaries, people that represent you, representatives towards the next person. But literally, a malach means an angel. So Rashi addresses the question, what is it? Are we talking about representatives? Are we talking about people that are going to now deal with Esav, or like politicians? Or are we talking about angels? Rashi says malachim mamash, which means literally angels. Rashi makes a point of saying you should know. Here we're talking literally angels. Now, in the word mamash that Rashi says, which means literally angels, the word mamash is very, very interesting. First of all, the Mefarshim say that the word mamash can be broken down into 3 words, mincha, ma'ariv, shacharit, which means that Yaakov Avinu over here is praying very, very hard. He's praying at mincha, he's praying ma'ariv, he's praying shacharit. He's doing everything that he can as far as his prayer in order to weaken Esav. The word Vayishlach, if you rearrange the letters, Vayishlach, which means and he sent, could also be Vayachalosh, which means and he weakened. He's weakening Esav. How is he weakening Esav? What's the problem?
Yaakov is weakening Esav.
Yeah, exactly. That he's weakening Esav, right? So Vayachalosh, he's weakening. How so? By sending those malachim. What does that mean, malachim? Mamash, meaning mincha, ma'ariv, shachir. He's praying. He's weakening Esav through his tefillot. Now, Maran Achida gives us a very deep insight over here. He says the word mamash, which means again literally angels, the names of those angels are in the word mamash. What does that mean? Michael is mem, Malkiel is the next mem, and the next one is Shin Shanandiel. These are names of malachim. And these 3 malachim were always at the aid of Yaakov Avinu throughout his entire duration outside of Israel and accompanying him, helping him, etc.
He was outside of Israel. It's different malachim.
Beautiful point. But apparently, he was even praying for him in Shamayim when Yaakov was outside of Eretz Yisrael. So the idea is that these three malachim are there helping Yaakov Avinu all the time. Now, if you do the gematria of these three malachim, Michael, Malkiel, Shanandiel, you'll get something really cool. Comes out to 677. Okay? Now, says the Kaf HaChaim. If you look in the halachot, Kaf HaChaim is a book about halachot. He writes over there that every morning we say right before we start the Amidah, Ezrat Avotenu, right? Atahu Meolam. What does that mean? You were always Hashem at aiding our forefathers. Yaakov Avinu, Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu. You were always there helping them. Says the Kaf HaChaim. So again, Michael, Malkiel, Shanandiel. It's Gematria 677. He says, if you take a look at the word Ezrat, Ezrat is also 677. Says the Kaf HaChaim, you should be praying at that moment that in the same way that Hashem sent those malachim to help Yaakov Avinu, so too Hashem should send those malachim to help you. And that's what we're saying. Ezrat avotenu ata hu me'olam. You were helping our forefathers, Hashem, help us too. That's exactly, it's the same thing. Now, this is really wild. Because putting all this together with a comment from the Ohev Yisrael, the Apter of one of the great Hasidic Rebbes, the early Hasidic Rebbes, he says the following thing. He has a nice question. The Apter of asks, it says, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim lefanav. Yaakov sent angels lefanav. What does lefanav mean? It means in front of him, before him. So why does it need to say before him, in front of him? Just say Vayishlach Yaakov malachim. He sent malachim to Esav. What's the word lefanav? So he has a beautiful explanation. The Apterov says it means that Yaakov Avinu was not simply dealing with his own situation. Everything that our forefathers did was what we call Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim, which means what they were doing was actually by far more than just for themselves. It was actually for us too. Yaakov Avinu knows that Esav has power, not just in his time, but it's a long battle for many generations, with many exiles, with many difficulties and many issues. And how many times we suffered from Esav, whether it was Haman HaRasha, whether it was the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, Amalek, and all the different things that we had because of them. Yaakov Avinu is now putting it forward for us a pattern that we will always have the zechut of those malachim to come and to help us. Says the Apterav, lefanav means, and Yaakov is sending angels ahead of time, meaning for the future Am Yisrael that will come forth from him. He's praying that those malachim should be there to protect us today where we are. That's what it means that he sent them lefanav. I'll read you what he says. This is the word from the Ohev Yisrael, the Apterav. He says, he's giving these angels a mission for the future. Thank you very much. So Yaakov is saying, I'm praying for them that these malachim should go and they should be there by the side of the Jewish people at any given moment when Esav HaRasha wants to do bad to us. Yaakov is sending these malachim mamash forward to the future. Az yefaisu oto v'yashchitu oto. They'll relax and calm down the other the elements of Esav that are trying to do bad. That's why it says he sends them to. It's funny. He says he's sending them Arza Seir Sedeh Edom, to the land of Seir, to the field of Edom. What is that? Why are you sending angels to that place? The answer is it's a source of negativity, it's a place that produces all kinds of bad things, that cause all kinds of bad spirits that go into the head of these people to try and do bad to us. Shem Yishmor. So that's exactly where Yaakov is sending the attack, the commando unit ahead of time. That they should go over there and they should relax things that we should be protected and we should be safe. I read you just the next part. He says, Hikdim refuah. Yaakov moved up early the healing, lashbit me'alehem, to protect us from kol minei mastinim u'mekatregim she'amdu alehem, any kind of thing that should ever come to bother us, b'chol dor vador, in every generation. Hainu, meaning, sheyelchu hamalachim hanal b'shlichutam zu, that those angels that he's sending forward should go with this mission that he's giving them right now, lehetiv lezaro, and that's to do well for his offspring. And that's why it's written in the Torah, says the Apterav shehi nitzchit, because the Torah is forever. So Yaakov Avinu over here is doing something by far more grand than just saving himself in his situation. He's actually concerned about all of his offspring in the future. That's what the Apterav says. Now, let's take it to the next level. What creates a malach? How is a malach created?
Mitzvot.
Beautiful. Malachim are created from mitzvot. Malachim are created from mitzvot. Okay? Very important. Now, if you take the word malachim, what's the gematria of the word malachim, which means angels? Let's do it. Mem is 40. Lamed is 30. So that's 70. Aleph is 171. Chaf is 20. 91. Very good. Yud is another 10. That's 101. Mem is another 40. 141. Okay. Do the gematria mitzvah.
141.
Exactly. Mitzvah. Mitzvah means a mitzvah. Person does a mitzvah. Mem tzadi vav is 141. What does that teach you? What creates the malachim? The mitzvah that you do.
If you do bad
over
things,
here.
you bring bad malachim too. No?
That's also true. That's also true. What? It doesn't. The point is, you want to think positive. So the malachim, again, this chidush, I have to admit.
Between malachim of Esav and malachim of Yaakov.
One second. We'll get there very shortly.
So you're
Good
telling
question.
me, like
So-
Bitcoin that they create malach with their action.
Bitcoin, I'm sorry.
Bitcoin, they do it
Yeah,
like this.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
they create Bitcoin. You're telling me mitzvah also it
Creates
but-
malachim, correct. It creates a
And,
malach.
okay, so Bitcoin we control. How do we control that malach?
Who said that you can control the malach? The point is the
Yeah,
malach is there
okay.
to help you. The malach is there to help you.
Very
That's the
good.
point.
So, but Yaakov did.
So Yaakov had obviously a little bit more of a stronger connection, to say the least, than we do. And he was aware much more of what's going on. And he also was familiar with how to have more control over malachim. If you see, the problem is like this. Those that know Kabbalah know how to control an angel. Problem is, if you control an angel, they're not happy. They don't like that. And when you finish, then they punish you for that. You understand? It's not good. Like, for example, there were certain people, the story about Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, that he had students one time that were being attacked by different vicious goyim wherever they were living, and they decided to save themselves. They said a certain name of Hashem, poof, they were out of there. They were gone. And then they saw Rabbi Yehuda Chassid. Rabbi Yehuda Chassid told them, you lost your whole olam haba. Yeah. You used the name of Hashem to get you out of a situation. You used it in a practical way. That's not what it's meant for. So you lost your whole olam haba. So they had to fix it. They had to do tshuva, a whole story. But they have to do it with the utmost caution in the tradition that they got from their forefathers. There's going to be times when it's okay for them, and there's going to be times where they should not. And they have a job based on their masorah to know when it's okay and when it's not okay. It's important to realize it's a
How they
serious
write
thing.
Kamiya?
What?
They write Kamiya, also made
Yes.
of Malachim.
Yeah, it's a good. These are all great questions, but let's just stay focused over here. So you have a good point. Just one more point about the word mamash. Mamash means literally. Again, Yaakov sent malachim, mamash, literally angels. So it's again, we're talking about our forefathers. In the Amidah, we end off the first three brachot with these three letters. Again, mamash, mem, shin. The first bracha of the Amidah ends with Magen Avraham. That ends with a mem. Then we have the second bracha of Amidah. It says Mechaya Mitim. That's another mem. And the third bracha is Hakel Hakadosh, which ends with shin. So again, that's mamash. What's the point? The point is that the prayer that we have is able to get things moving, to get those malachim working. That's why. But again, going back to the concept of mitzvah, that every mitzvah that you do creates a malach. Amazing idea. Vayishlach Yaakov in gematria 536. What's the gematria of mitzvot? 536. The mitzvot that we do, that's what helps us to send forth those malachim. That's how Yaakov could send forth the malachim. So very important to understand these concepts. Yeah. Vayishlach Yaakov, do the gematria. What's Yaakov sent? Vav 6. Yeah, exactly. 536. Same gematria as mitzvot. Meaning, Yaakov wants to send forth malachim. What's the zechut? The mitzvot that he does. Same thing with us. We want to have malachim protecting us. We have to do mitzvot. That's the idea. Okay, very important concept.
Angels, they have time limit.
I don't know. I don't know. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro. Okay, let's go. Well, that's because you're not going anywhere. Staying right here.
I have to be careful. My son texts me, come pick me up from the shore.
Okay, come, let's go. So, getting back to our parasha. So, how could Yaakov Avinu say to Esav, Taryag mitzvot shamarti? We started talking about this on Sunday. It says that Yaakov Avinu sends a message to Esav. He says, Im Lavan garti, I live together with Lavan, and I've been there since now. So garti, the letters garti, I lived, you rearrange them, it gives you Taryag, which means 613. Taf is 400, Reish is 200, Taryag 10, 4, so that's 610 plus Gimel is 3, 613. Okay. So how could Yaakov Avinu say, I kept the 613 mitzvot when we all know it's impossible for one Jew to keep 613 mitzvot? For example, if I'm not a Kohen, I cannot do Birkat Kohanim. If I'm not a lady, I can't go to the mikveh, to become not a nidah. If I am not in Israel, I can't do shmita. Right? There's certain things that you can only do under certain circumstances. So and before Matan Torah, also that's a valid point. So how could it be that Yaakov said that I kept the Taryag mitzvot? So there are a couple of important nights. Now, before we move on, we have an easy answer to this. The easy answer that we have after the Torah was given, each Jew has a certain role that he plays. Like if you can imagine an orchestra, right? You have a guy on the cello, you have a guy on the trombone, you have a guy on the piano, and each guy has a certain job. So the Jewish people are diverse people. You have women, you have people in Israel, you have people outside of Israel, you have Kohanim, you have Levim. Each guy has a separate job, and we all make up one body of neshamot, and that's what the Or Chaim HaKadosh says. We all make up one collective body, and therefore, when you do your part and I do my part, we're all like a symphony. We're all like an orchestra. That's the simple answer that's relevant to us nowadays. But Yaakov Avinu doesn't have that answer. He's only one man. So how could he say that I kept all 613?
He is part of the whole group of?
There is no whole group. There's just him.
But you just said he see the future, so he connected himself to the future.
Yeah, but right now there's just him. There's him. There's his father. That's it. Okay. So where are all the mitzvot that he's saying he's doing? So the first answer, which is very important for us to understand, is that it says that when a person studies something, it's as if he actually did it. Which means, let's say that I'm sitting down right now, I'm learning about the mitzvah of sending the goat off of the cliff on Yom Kippur. There's a mitzvah. You have to take a goat, 2 goats. You have to send the goat off of the cliff on Yom Kippur. Okay. When I sit and I learn that right now, the Gemara tells us it's as if I just did that. Okay. Zot Torah Chatat, Zot Torah Olah. Says the Gemara, when you learn about it, it's as if you did it. Yes, Sasso.
What if you violated the mitzvah?
What do you mean?
What about it?
Yaakov Avinu married two sisters. That's a violation of one of the mitzvot.
It's a beautiful question. Beautiful question. There are a bunch of different reasons that it was okay for him to do it. For example, one answer is he was outside of Israel. Another answer is they both converted, so they weren't like sisters anymore. Bunch of different reasons, right? But the point is that in this right now, what we're learning is that when you learn about a particular subject, it's as though you fulfilled that subject. For example, God forbid, nobody ever wants to. I told you guys I once gave a class, and I said, you can't. There are some mitzvot people don't want to do. So the example I gave was giving a get, right? Who wants to give his wife a get? We want to stay married. So one guy goes, me, right? But but no, I mean, listen. For example, yibum. Yibum is a mitzvah. I guarantee you, nobody wants to do yibum. Nobody wants, God forbid, his brother to die childless, and then he should have to marry his brother's widow, right? Nobody wants to do it. But when you learn about the mitzvah, when you sit down and you study Masechet Yevamot, and you learn about when it applies, when it doesn't apply, and you do, a study of it, it's as if you actually did it. Okay, that's very important for all of us to know. So that's one answer. Yaakov Avinu may not have actually done them, but he definitely learned about them, and therefore, because he studied them, it's as if he did them. That's one answer. Another answer is, like we said, doesn't say he actually did them, but he said he was shomer mitzvah, which means that he's on standby. That whenever you want me to do something, Hashem, you tell me and I do it. It might not be something that you want me to do specifically. It might be relevant to somebody else, but I'm ready, willing, and able to do whatever you want me to do. And for that reason, that's considered to be shomer mitzvah. Not the kayem mitzvah, not that I actually did it, but I'm willing to do it. I want to do it. It's on my mind to do whatever you want me to do, and that's considered to be something like as if I did it.
613 mitzvah is from Torah.
Correct.
So before we take the Torah, we get the Torah. He was learning it. Yaakov. Right.
Yaakov Avinu had a tradition. Yaakov Avinu had a tradition from his father and his grandfather. Right. He learned in the yeshiva of Ever for 14 years. It says. Right. To become obligated, because it says Gadol mitzuveh ve'oseh mi she'eino mitzuveh ve'oseh. Believe it or not, when you put on tefillin, it's greater than Yaakov Avinu putting on tefillin, because you are obligated to put on tefillin, and he was not. That's a different level of obligation. So that's how it's considered to be that he did the mitzvot. Now, there's a very interesting discussion that comes up over here. Yaakov Avinu says, Koto mirun ladoni le'esav. Okay? This is what you shall say to my master, to Esav. Right? And then, more than that, what does he say? He sees Esav and he says, Ra'iti panecha kirot penei Elohim. It's as if I'm looking at an angel. Elohim could also be a judge. But the point is, he's giving him a status of like, looking at you, like, I'm looking at a celestial being. He's calling him his master. So how do you explain this? Is this okay? Is this not okay? What do we do with this interesting fact? So let's take a step back. And there's a Gemara in Masechet Sotah, Daf Mem Aleph Amud Bet. The Gemara in Masechet Sotah says, we have two opinions. The first opinion says, Mutar le'achnif et hareshaim ba'olam hazeh, which means you're allowed to kiss up and suck up to a wicked man in the world before Mashiach comes. What's the proof? Reish Lakish Amar Mehacha. Reish Lakish says, you see it from here, because it says that Yaakov told Esav, I'm looking at your face, Kirot Penei Elohim v'tirtzeni. I'm looking at you as if you're an angel, right? What angel? The guy's a rapist. He's far from an angel. He's a murderer. He's a thief. He's a very decadent person. He is an angel, a zoy angel. It doesn't work like that. So what do you see? Says the Gemara. You see that before Mashiach comes, you're allowed to praise a wicked man, allowed to kiss up to him. Why? Because that's what Yaakov did.
And the
Right.
definition of before, it doesn't mean, maybe it's 1 week, maybe 5,000 years. The definition of before.
Before, correct. Before Mashiach, correct. Now, comes along another opinion, Rabbi Levi in the Gemara, and he says, no, you got it all wrong. You know what he meant when he said, you're like an angel? He says, imagine the following. Somebody invites you to a barbecue, okay? You go to the barbecue, and a lot of guests there, but you realize that the host is not happy with you, and he's trying to kill you. Suddenly you realize you're entrapped, and you've got a problem. So what do? So you say something like, this meat tastes just like the meat that I had when I was by the king in his palace, right? So now the guy, he's gonna get scared. Is this guy's friendly with the king? He knows the king. That means the king is gonna look for him and see that that he's not around, and then he's gonna ask after him and find out that it was me, that I killed him. Forget about it, right? So you use something to make the guy a little bit scared. Says Rabbi Levi in the Gemara, you know what Yaakov was doing when he said, you look like an angel? He was telling him, buddy, I just had a fight with your angel. It was in the Parashat, that's what happened. Yaakov fought with the Malach of Esau, and he won. So he says, I just saw your Malach, and I knocked him out. He's out of the picture. So guess what? I do the same thing to you. In other words, it's a threat. He was trying to threaten him. It wasn't sucking up. It was a threat.
If it's the threat, how come you bent to him 7 times? How come you split your camp
Right.
the way you did?
Very good.
How come you are so
Excellent.
scared? You said in so much gift.
Very good. Excellent question. So, of course, there's no question that Yaakov Avinu felt that there was a threat towards him as well. There's no question that he felt that he needed to pray. There's no question that he was actually doing something. He definitely sent him gifts too. It says he gave him gifts. So he tried to do whatever it was that he could in order to do what was necessary. But at the same time, says Rabbi Levi, he's also conveying to him messages. You see, even by big politicians nowadays, they pay a lot of attention to the wording that they use. Oh, he used this word, he used that word. Why? Because each word could have this meaning, this reference. So you're using a certain word, but it could have more than one meaning. So yes, I'm telling you, you look like an angel, but it could be at the very same time that I'm telling you you're an angel. It could be that I'm also messaging you, you're an angel, but I knocked down your angel. It's like, it could be two things at the same time. You understand? So that's what he was saying. It's a threat. It wasn't sucking up. Now he wants to view it as if I'm sucking up to him. Let him see it like that. But I didn't mean that. I'm not kissing up to him. You understand? So therefore, his own ego is moving him in that direction to feel like that. But in my mind, am I thinking that I'm kissing up to him? No, I'm not allowed to kiss up to him. I have to knock him out and threaten him. That's what I'm thinking. So it's an interesting concept. Are you allowed to kiss up to somebody who is a Rasha or not? So I'm going to read to you a couple of very interesting things. First of all, the Tosfot on this parasha says like this. The Dad Zekenim says, from the fact that he called him Adoni 8 times. Think about this. He says, Amar lo yitbarach. Hashem says to Yaakov, Ani amarti v'rav ya'avod tza'ir. In last week's parasha, I said that the bigger nation should be a servant to the younger one. Who's that? Esav should be the servant to Yaakov. That's what I decreed, Hashem says. Ve'ata kira'atu adon shmona pa'amim. You called him master 8 times. Guess what's going to happen? Because you did that, says the Dad Zekenim, you know how many kings Esav had before Am Yisrael? 8. They had 8 generations of kings before Am Yisrael had even one king. You know why? Because Yaakov bowed down. Because Yaakov called him Adon, my master, 8 times. That's number one. Says the Baal HaTurim over here as well. Bishvil sheYaakov yareh me'esav kol kach. Because Yaakov was so scared of Esav. V'kra'o Adoni, he called him my master. Ve'akadosh baruch hu hifticho kvar. Hashem already promised him, Ushmarticha b'chol asher telech, I will protect you wherever you go. So what are you so worried about? Says the Baal HaTurim, because of this, garam lebanam shenasu gerim ben haumot. Because of this, all of the history of the Jewish people took place, which is that the Jewish people were exiled throughout all the different nations. Why? Look at what the Baal HaTurim is saying. Because Yaakov bowed down, because Yaakov called him my master so many times.
So
Okay?
you're paying for
So
his mistake.
So exactly. So we, because of what Yaakov did, we have been exiled and scattered throughout so many different countries. So you see over here that the Mefarshim are being upset. They're upset at Yaakov, so to say, that he called him my master. Now we know why Yaakov was worried. Yaakov was afraid maybe he sinned. He was afraid maybe he did something wrong, right? And that's why he was afraid maybe Hashem is not going to help him. Maybe he's not worthy. But still, Yaakov Avinu is faulted for calling him Adon. Yes. Wait, English, so everyone understands.
In one side, Yaakov Avinu is Ruach HaKodesh. He can see far, so he knows everything will be okay. מצד שני, הוא saying, הוא לא חסר אמונה, רמת האמונה, the level of faith is a little bit less, because he gave a כפר לשם, he made commission לשם, אם תשמור את דרכי בפרשה קודמת, ובדרך לעולם וכדומה. יש פה הרבה סתירות בין אחד לשני.
I'm just telling you what the bottom line is. One opinion in the Gemara says he was allowed to do it, no problem. The other opinion is saying, no, that's not what he meant. He wasn't allowed to do it. But the bottom line is that there are 8 times that he said, my master, my master, my master. And for all those 8 times, we got delayed to having a king 8 generations. And the Jewish people were scattered through different nations for this, which is a very scary thing.
Even that when you said 8 times that he called him my master, but in that time, Esav was stopped running because every time you saw master, you saw one generation of his Esav going down. So it's הפוך, מה שאתה אומר לי כרגע. You tell me 8, we got 8 kings, but Rashi אומר, no, like every time you call him איש החווה, Esav got a בראש.
Correct.
אני לא מסתדר לי הדברים האלה.
There's a lot of, you see, again, we have to understand everything that our forefathers did was very complicated. And you're right, bowing down actually knocked out Esav to a certain extent. It's true. And there's a lot to say about that. But I want to just stick on this topic to see, is there a time when you are allowed to kiss up to a Rasha? Let's just focus on this for a little bit. There's an interesting story in the Gemara in Masechet Nedarim, Daf Chaf Bet Amud Aleph. It says that there was a man by the name of Ula. He was a big tzaddik, a big rabbi. And he was making aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. He was going up to Israel. And he had 2 people from Bavel with him. They were from the city of Mechuza. And as they were traveling, one of them got upset at the other, and he killed him. He literally slit his throat. Hashem Yishmor. So Ula was there, and he couldn't believe this guy killed the other guy. So the fellow said to Ula, did I act appropriately? Did I do something that was okay? So Ula said, of course. And you should even open up the cut bigger so you should die faster. Like that. That's what Ula said. Now, Ula went, Ula was a big rabbi. When he got back, when he finally made his way to Israel, he went and he asked Rabbi Yochanan, did I say something wrong? Like, was I okay for saying that? So Rabbi Yochanan said, Nafshecha hitzalta. You saved your soul. You know, you didn't want the guy to kill you. That's why you said that. So you were allowed to say that. So you see, there's a concept. When a person is doing it out of a fear that he's going to be killed, so then he's allowed to try and save himself, you know. If let's say there was another guy that he didn't like that was there with him, And he would tell him, I think you did right. If he didn't like that guy, he'd say, but he thinks you did something very bad. He would get that guy. But the idea is, you see that it's possible that when you are in danger, you're allowed to go ahead and to say what it is that's necessary to save yourself. But you should know, Rabotai, the very Gemara that we spoke about before.
Even you have to give your religious. You cannot give your religious because they kill you. Our meaning of is, if they ask us to change the religious, if we don't, they kill us. So that's what that's
True.
what Halacha says.
True.
But here you say, for your saving yourself, you can do anything.
No, not change. I didn't say you could change your religion. No.
So you
Like
can
I didn't
order,
say-
you can order a shot, you can
You can be polite to a wicked. The point is, you can be nice to a wicked man,
They're not wicked.
right? A wicked person. That's what the Gemara is saying. That somebody who he's a rasha, he's a wicked man. If you just need to say, yeah, good job to save yourself, then you're allowed to save yourself, right? Again, if he would tell him you have to kill him or else I kill you, then we say, okay, kill me. I'm not gonna kill anybody,
Rabbi,
right?
the couple in Holocaust were
Right.
doing that.
No. Again, there's two things. Remember, it's don't mix the issues, guys. Don't mix the issues. No. Don't mix the issues. No. There are three sins for which a person must give up his life and not do it, even if it's in private. And that is Gilui Arayot, Shfichut Damim, and Avodah Zarah. Forbidden relations, idol worship, and killing somebody. Even if that's done in private, even if somebody says, listen, either you go, putting a gun to the guy's head, either you go and you bow down to this idol or I shoot you. The guy doesn't have any way out. He says, shoot me. Cannot bow down to an idol. That's for sure. If he says, go have relations with that married woman or I shoot you. Shoot me. God forbid, he says, don't, I want you to either kill him or I kill you. Say, kill me. Even if it's in private. We're not, that's for sure.
He said, cut him open bigger.
No. The guy was already dead. The guy, he didn't know that he was going to kill it. This fellow is walking, the two fellows are walking with this rabbi, okay? All of a sudden, one guy gets into a fight with the other. He takes out a knife and he slits the other guy's throat. So this guy's a murderer, right? He's a murderer. Now, he's got the knife dripping blood right now. So he looks at the rabbi and he goes, Rabbi, did I do something okay? What are you going to say? No. Right? No, you didn't do something. He's going to kill you too, God forbid. Right? So that's what he said to him. He said, listen, of course. And you know what? Even open it up that it should be, what's it called? He should die faster. The point is, he's not telling him to get, he already killed him. Hashem Yishmor.
Now I have a question.
Yes.
When Abimelech took Sarah Menu, I sent go to his grain and told him, don't touch Sarah Menu. Right?
Yes.
When Lavan came to attack Yaakov Avinu, also Hashem went to Lavan and said, don't touch Yaakov, right?
Right.
So why Hashem didn't go to Esav?
That's a good question. Why didn't Hashem go to Esav and tell Esav, don't come to Yaakov? I hear it's a nice question. It could be that Yaakov Avinu needed to encounter him, to interact with him for a certain reason. But it's a good question. But I want to just share with you one more point about this subject before it's a good question I have to get back to. The idea is like this. The Gemara tells us that there are 4 groups of people that after they pass away, they do not get to see Hashem. They do not get to merit Olam Haba. And one of them, the first one on the list, is what we call Kat Chanefim, people that suck up and kiss up to wicked people. So you see, that's a big problem. We're not supposed to suck up and kiss up. Masechet Sotah Daf Mem Aleph Amud Bet. Kat Chanefim, Kat Shakranim, Kat Medabrei Lashon Hara, and Kat Leitzanim. People that constantly either suck up to wicked people, lie, speak Lashon Hara, or scoff. They reject, they laugh at everything that somebody would say that's positive in Torah and things like that. They mock everything. So these people, it says they never get a chance to get to Olam Haba.
Repeat the words.
Yes. Chanefim, people that suck up to wicked people. Shakranim, liars. Medabrei Lashon Hara, people that speak Lashon Hara. And Leitzanim, people that are scoffers, mockers. They laugh at everything. By the way, it's Rashi Tevot Chashmal, right? Chashmal, Chanefim, Shakranim, Medaber Lashon Hara, and Leitzanim. These are 4 really bad categories because a person that always is speaking Lashon Hara, he's a devastating, damaging person. A person that is always kissing up to wicked people also is causing a lot of damage. So how do we balance all these things, this different information? On the one hand, we have one opinion that says, in this world, you're allowed to suck up to a wicked person. The other opinions are saying, these people that do that have no portion in the world to come. But Yaakov Avinu did it. So what was Yaakov's plan? What was he trying to do? So the answer is, I think, in a nutshell, if you're sucking up to somebody for the sake of just finding favor in his eyes, that's a big problem. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say to a wicked man, you're the best, you're a wonderful person, you're this, you're that. Meanwhile, the guy does terrible, wicked things. Can't do that. It's a big problem if you're, let's say, you're running a yeshiva, you have a shul, and the person that is donating money to you is just a very, very bad man. It's hard. It's hard to stand and say to this guy, sorry, but I cannot. I'm not happy with what you're doing, right? It's hard to do that, right? But the question is, what's required of you? So the answer that we're trying to say is, look, just to suck up to somebody to find favor in his eyes is no good. That's not okay. Because you have to be real. You have to be honest. The guy is doing something very wrong. There's a problem here. There's an issue here. You can't just let it go. On the other hand, if it's, God forbid, because of danger, somebody is in danger, if he doesn't say nice words to the guy, he's at risk of losing his own life. We have proof that you're allowed to say things. Yaakov did it. This Rabbi Ula did it. He was saving his life. You're allowed to do that, right? It's not for no reason. It's because you're saving your life. Now, then there's category number 3. And this is what I think, usually will come by. There's a concept. It says in Mishlei Pasuk, Omer al-Rashat tzaddik ata. Somebody says to a wicked man, you're a tzaddik. You're a righteous man. Yikvuhu amim. The nations will curse him. Yiz'amuhu leumim. The nations of the world will be upset at him. Says the Pasuk, Velamochichim yin'am. But somebody who rebukes the wicked man will find pleasantness. Ve'alehem, and on such people, tavo birkat tov, will fall a blessing of good. Somebody who rebukes a wicked person. So Rabbi beautifully brings down a beautiful perush from the Maharash Al-Ghazi in his book on Pirkei Avot. And he says like this, there's a reason why these 2 verses are next to each other. Again, it says that you're not supposed to praise a wicked person, but if you rebuke them, you will find pleasantness. Says Rabbi, you know what it's telling you? It's telling you that there are some times when you are allowed to kiss up to somebody wicked, and that is if it's for the purpose of bringing him closer to Torah. For example, somebody that's a wicked guy, let's say he steals. He takes people's money. He does a job for somebody, and then $100,000 vanish into thin air, and you don't know what happened. And he says it went here. The guy stole money. Is what it is. Okay? So now, you go to the fellow, you say, what a wonderful man you are. So nice, such good midot, it's fantastic. Listen, I heard about what happened. This is beneath you. You shouldn't let something like that happen. You're much higher, you're much better than that, right? So over here, you start off kissing up to the guy for the sake of bringing him closer. Understand? It's not that you're just praising him because you want to be buddy-buddy with him, because you want to be in with him. No, I'm coming to rebuke him, but I start the rebuke with a praise. Because the truth of the matter is, I think all of us, if you know that you have a problem and somebody comes and starts yelling at you about your problem, we don't want to listen. It's not pleasant. I don't want somebody to come start yelling at me about my problems. I turn it off. I shut down. I don't listen. But somebody comes and starts talking to me about, oh, you're so nice. You're so good. You're so this. You're so that. But I don't understand. If you're such a wonderful guy, why did you do this and that? So that kind of praise is good because it's productive. It's for rebuke. So that's good.
Why
Understand?
he didn't do before he left Esav? Why he didn't go to Esav? Why he didn't go to Esav and tell him you are a nice guy? I'm sorry I took the blessing.
So that's a good question. It's a good question. I think that sometimes the answer is that either number one, it's beyond repair. The person is just so far off that there's not really much I could do. Or Esav was also very smart and he would say, hey, cut the bologna out, you know? Some people buy it and some people, they straight shooter.
How come after 20 years,
Yeah.
he did the same? He went to him and he said, oh, you are master, this. He lied, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So why he didn't like that time before he leave? He could say, oh, Esav, you are
so it turns out, based on what we're learning now, that Yaakov is much more than that. Yaakov is actually telling him, listen, you're my master, this and that, but bottom line, I fought your angel and I beat him. Right?
And
Yeah.
he has a question.
Yeah.
So why are you afraid?
Again, because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's not sure. I understand. There's lots of things this way and that way. But the point,
he's using all our tactics.
he's using everything at his disposal to make sure he's okay.
And
now, I want, yeah.
If he has the power of the 3 angels,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. When Hashem sent 3 angels to Abraham Avinu, who was that? Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, right?
Okay.
Raphael came for Refuah,
Mhm.
and the other 2, they went to Sodom,
One for the
destroy,
Sarah and one for Sodom.
to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Okay.
So Michael has that power. So when Michael was the other 2, why he didn't destroy Esav?
Malach
It's
for one mission.
it says that a malach has one job. It says en malach echad oseh shtei shlichuyot. You can't do more than one job. So
Hashem sent the Malachim to him.
okay, but
Oh, Yaakov.
for whatever reason, Hashem wanted Yaakov and Esav to have a match
Oh,
over here.
That's
That we see is the case. I want to just end off with one more point, guys, from the Chafetz Chaim. The Chafetz Chaim has a question. We never find by any of the forefathers that anybody had to fight any angels. Avraham Avinu did not have to fight an angel. Yitzchak didn't have to fight an angel, but Yaakov has to fight an angel. So why? What's the idea over here?
His angel was he fighting somebody else's angel?
None of the malachim had to fight any angels. Period.
You just
And none
said-
of the avot, I mean to say.
And
What?
we just concluded
Yeah.
the angels that he sent, it was angels that he created.
no, Michael.
Okay.
Am I right or am I wrong?
In general, malachim are created by mitzvot. Most likely, that's the case. Yes.
So the angels that he saw in a dream, where did they come from? Who are they?
That's a separate issue. That's a separate issue. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but that is a separate. That was last week's class, so, but the idea here is that Yaakov Avinu says the Chafetz Chaim. Rabbi Elchanan Wasserman quotes him. He says the Chafetz Chaim answered, Avraham was the epitome of Chesed, and Yitzchak Avinu was the epitome of Tefillah, davening, being close to Hashem. Yaakov Avinu was the epitome of learning Torah. Learning Torah. The Chafetz Chaim writes that a Jew, the Yetzer Hara doesn't mind if you learn. I'm sorry, the Yetzer Hara does not mind if you daven a whole day, if you fast a whole day, let him do chesed a whole day. It's all good. But once you start to learn Torah, that's when the Yetzer Hara is very upset. Because learning the Torah Kedosha is the antidote to the Yetzer Hara. And he knows that once you start to learn, whether it's Gemara, Mishnah, Tanakh, whatever it could be that you're getting involved in, once you start to learn, now you have a weapon against him. Now Hashem helps you fight against him. So he knows that he's going to lose. So he does whatever he can to make sure that you don't learn Torah. That's why the Yetzer Hara, the Malach HaMavet, came to fight against Yaakov, because Yaakov is the one that represented the study of Torah more than anybody else. So it's important, it's a chizuk for all of us to know that we have it, Baruch Hashem, at our fingertips We just have to make the best of it and to use it as much as we can to learn, and that way we can fight the Yetzer Hara. That's why the Yetzer Hara was scared of Yaakov, because when you learn, he knows that he doesn't stand a chance.
Malach HaMavet b'tzar Esav, Malach Esav.
It says the Malach of Esav was the Malach HaMavet, which is the Yetzer Hara, named, of course, Sammy,
So how
right?
how
Samich Mem,
how
right?
how Esav create that Malach?
What?
How Esav create that Malach? I should make it Malach.
Yeah, but that's the Malach of Esav. Not that Esav created him. The point is that Hashem assigned this Malach to Esav.
Exactly.
Right.
And just said,
It's not always. That's creating other Malachim. This Malach was assigned to him.
That's the question.
Again,
Yaakov, he didn't create that three Malach. Michael, and these three Malach.
usually it says Malachim are created by your mitzvot. I cannot tell you if it was for 100% that you did it or not.
Michael, it was before that Yaakov.
Correct. Correct.
So that means he didn't create him.
I cannot tell you if it was or if it wasn't, but the point is that there are certain malachim that are created already ahead of time, assigned to you, and some that you create that they go before you and they help you.
I know.
We're going to stop over here, guys. Thank you so much.
You